Hello and welcome to the national debate. I'm Madhavdas GK. Viewers, the Malayalam film industry, Mollywood, has been shaken to the core. Every day, more and more voices of survivors are revealing the trauma inflicted on them over the years. 17 cases of sexual harassment have been registered following complaints lodged by victims and survivors in the wake of the release of the Justice Hema Committee report. The accounts of trauma are piling up. So far, at least 17 cases have been filed following the release of the Hema Commission report, and the chorus for justice is now resonating across film industries in India. On this edition of the national debate, we ask, what will it take for women to have safe workspaces, not just in the film industry, but across the board? What options are available for women to address such concerns? And are these MeToo allegations being acted upon? And are these cases being taken to the right conclusion? And joining us live at the moment are Radhika Sharat Kumar, actor and producer. We also have Madhuvanti Arun, who's an actor, joining us. We also have Sonia Malhar, who is a survivor, joining us from Thiruvananthapuram. Joining us also is Lalita Kumar Mangalam, a former chief of the National Commission for Women. Joining us also is Deepa Ishwar, actor and activist. We also have Mithun Vijay Kumar, political analyst, joining us. Joining us also is Sanjana Galrani, actress. We have Radhika Sharat Kumar, as I mentioned earlier, and Jimsa Ibrahim, political analyst. Vivek Srivastava, political analyst, is joining us. Let's first, before I go across to our guests, take you through the kind of allegations that are there as far as this particular report is concerned. The first revelation is that sexual harassment is rampant, remains unchecked. This is the revelation coming in from the Hema report. We also have sexual demands that have been made for entry into cinema. The third revelation coming out is that torture if women are unwilling to give in to these sexual demands. The fourth revelation is that there is a threat to life if women speak out. Revelation number 5. Women speaking out subjected to online threats and bullying. Revelation 6. Some women do adjust. Their mothers believe there's nothing wrong in it. Revelation 7. Posh committee won't work since industry is male dominated. Revelation 8. There is a mafia that no one can dare utter a word against. Revelation 9. Individuals illegally banned by a few who are influential in the industry. And Revelation 10. Denial of basic facilities such as toilets, changing rooms as far as the industry is concerned. And what really is the action that we've seen over the last few days? These are the kind of cases that have been filed. Srilekha Mitra, a survivor, has filed a case, an FIR against director Ranjit. He stepped down from the Chalchitra Academy as well. A charge of sexual abuse against actor Siddiq. Revati Sampath is a survivor who has filed this FIR. We've also seen against Riaz Khan a complaint that has not yet been filed officially, but there is a charge of sexual misconduct by Revati Sampath, a survivor. As far as noted actor and CPIM MLA Mukesh, there is a charge of physical and verbal abuse. An FIR has been filed by Meenu Munir, who's a survivor. Meenu Munir also filing a case against Manyan Pilla Raju, who's an actor. The charge here is physical and verbal abuse. Let's move on to the next case. It's Idavila Babu, another actor. The charge here is a physical and verbal abuse as well. An FIR has been filed. Meenu Munir is the survivor here who has filed that complaint. Another complaint filed by Meenu Munir is against Jay Surya, an actor. Charge of physical and verbal abuse, FIR filed here as well. And lastly, Sajan Babu, the director, the charge of attempt to rape and sexual assault. While there's no complaint here, 2 women from the film industry, 2 survivors, have actually made that account. Let's quickly open this up and take this across to all of our panelists joining us. Let me start with you first and foremost. Sonia Malhar, you're the lone survivor on this panel. I want to start by asking you a simple question. At this point of time, with the kind of action that has taken place, obviously these are issues that have been going on for a long time. Are you satisfied with the kind of action that you're seeing in the form of the SIT? Do you think that things should be speeded up from here? What would be your demand as a survivor?
Yeah, it's a good movement from SIT and government, but delaying verdict is not good for us like victims. Speedy, quick action is expecting from the government and authority, SIT.
Right. Right. Let me bring in Deepa Ishwar on this note. Deepa Ishwar, of course, we're going to get into the political part of this later, but just the sheer volume of the complaints we are seeing, the kind of report itself is shocking, and the aftermath of the survivors who've now been emboldened to come out, file complaints. You know, this is a huge moment at this point of time, but there are many, many questions as to whether this will be enough, or we need some kind of structural change, a tribunal. You know, all of those are other aspects that have been suggested in the report, but have not really seen the light of day at the moment. Where do we see things going from here?
So Madhav, I'll start from where you began this entire debate. You started off asking, what does it take for a woman to have a safe workplace? And I would say that what it really takes is the woman herself, because I think it is, while we can debate it all we want, while we can put in a lot of structures, a lot of tribunals, the ICC on every film set and all of that, I think what is important is for the woman to step up, say no at the right time, report it at the right time, have the evidences, walk out of it, rather than waiting for years for this to come out. Because when I'm talking about it from another angle as well, because when it comes out after years, I'm sorry to say that it's not doing any good neither to the victim or the survivor, not to the people against whom these complaints are being raised, because they are living with a family as well. How is this going to be proven? Where are the evidences? And again, what if these allegations are false? There could be some allegations which are false. I'm not saying they are false. I'm just turning the devil's advocate here and asking a counter question. Why did you take my name? What did I do? What if there are men out there who has questions to ask, saying that probably even that it was consensual at that point, and today she has taken my name. So these are loopholes. So I think, what does it take to have a safe workplace? Please stand up for yourself and report it immediately. Have the evidences in hand and report it. I'm not sure what was it years back, but today we have enough and more structures in the form of social media, in the form of active media like Times Now, etc., where there will be huge support if you walk out, you put it up on social media and say that this actor suggested such an approach to me, and this is what happened to me as on this morning. And then you'll see that it never happens going forward. So I think women need to step up and make sure that this has to be addressed immediately, rather than for whatever reason. It could be because they're obliged to say yes, or it could be because they think, okay, I might get opportunities later, let me just turn a blind eye, or it could be because of whatever reasons. But being silent and coming after it years later can be damaging to both parties. Let's think about it from both sides.
Well, that perhaps is the most desirable situation, but Lalita Kumaramangalam, is that easier said than done?
Yes, in one word, because the systemic failure that has, prevented women from feeling safe enough to make these sort of complaints is what has let us down for generations. See, you need a lot of things in place to be able to face the consequences of giving a complaint like this. Even in an industry which is not dominated by men or run by men, which is almost impossible to find, say, probably one of the, I may be wrong in this, but probably one of those could be the IT industry, where there are a lot of women working. It is very difficult to report sexual abuse with proof. You know, where is the proof? You're very rarely sexually abused, either verbally or physically, in front of others. And even if it is in front of a few people, it will be normally verbal abuse, not physical abuse. Physical sexual abuse is almost always when you're alone. The suggestions, the orders, the invitations, etc., may be made in public, and public may be a few people, not, like in front of a big mela or something like that. But the actual, what happens, the abuse normally happens in private. It is very, very difficult for women to prove that, yes, I have been abused. Normally, what is said is that, we are always flirting. This is an industry where it happens. In a workspace, people get close. The innumerable excuses or reasons that can be given always go against women. It's women who are still questioned today, not men. The Hema committee report coming out has emboldened several girls to come and women to come and give complaints. Why they have not given these complaints earlier is for many reasons, primarily because, one, their characters will be totally torn to shreds. Two, their families will have to pay a heavy price for it. Three, they don't know if they're going to find work ever again. And these are all working women, remember. The first thing that they threatened are two things, the family and your job.
Right.
And most women don't work just, because they want to, but because they need to, for many reasons. The reasons may not be just economic, but the reasons are solid. Women who are abused within their homes, that's a separate topic altogether. I'm not going to come into that.
Yeah.
But here, remember always that families also don't always stand by the victims or the people being abused, because they are afraid of the fallout too. It's the systemic abuse, and the system includes society, which is very quick to find fault with the victim.
Okay,
And this is not just about women, Madhav. Let me tell you, I have seen this happen to transvestites. Seen this happen with even sex workers, both male and female. It's not just here. We may be talking about one specific industry, but it's across the board.
Let me bring in some of the other actors on this. We have Sanjana Galdani also joining us. Sanjana Galdani, do you agree with what Lalita Kumar Banglam is saying, or do you believe what Deepa Ishwar says is correct, that is the age of social media, people should speak up more and speak up more frequently? Or is that perhaps a little impractical in your view?
See, this has been going on from the time the film industry is there. From 40, 50 years, suddenly one wave of Me Too will come, or suddenly some woman will talk on some director or some producer. When will this stop, or when will this stop happening? We need a core committee which has time-bound rules. Not that, there's a case which is filed today and then after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, the justice is served. In 2017, one Malayalam actress was very brutally raped, and that's what formed the Hema committee. Until then, there was no Hema committee. And 2019, these women happened to lodge the complaint, and the result of 2019 is come in 2024. You can imagine how these women would have been settled in their own life. Maybe they have kids now, maybe they are not in the film industry, maybe they are in some other part of the country, maybe they are in some other part of the world, and suddenly out of the blue that 2019 allegation is coming up in 2024. How horribly the victim's life also would have been horrified on a personal front, and a huge backlash that a woman will face for this particular consequence if she goes out and speaks for herself to protect herself, or just to feel and explain her status as a victim, is she will lose her career forever.
Right.
Irrespective of she's talking the truth or she's not talking the truth, she's talking against one single man. And this entire film industry is a male-dominant industry. It's 98% driven by men. Maybe 1 or 2% you'll find some potential director or producer who's a woman. So all the 98% of the men will get petrified, be paranoid to work with this particular actress, because nobody wants to know so much of a bitter truth of anyone. And everybody would look at this particular actress rather as a, slut shaming is a very big thing in our country. They would not be like, she spoke up. They will not appreciate the fact that she spoke up. They will just complain that she has a big mouth and she's a dangerous woman and she spoke up. So, whoever talks will lose their career.
Yeah, let me bring
it's a full stop to their career. So these consequences are huge. And the solution to this is what we really need to finally look into. The solution is there has to be a law which has to come from the central, from the government, against women abuse in the entire country. I am a very bold woman. I would not come down from my house at 11 in the night all alone. Okay. And now after what has happened in RGK College, I don't even want to drive with an interlocked car on the road. I'm so paranoid about my life. I would not even let my son
there are some
down,
important points. There are some important questions you've raised, Sanjana. I want to quickly take this across to other panelists as well. Radhika, Sharad Kumar, I'd like you to come in on this, because here you have Sanjana saying that we have weak laws. The law is not deterrent enough. There are still these crimes taking place. 12 years after Nirbhaya, we are still discussing the need to implement those laws. Is it just the laws, or is it the implementation that's the real problem here?
Every year, this is getting worse. Every year, you hear of different cases, you hear of different subjects, whether it's the film industry or whether it's in a hospital or in a school or a child or an older woman, it just gets worse. Where are we going wrong? Where are we going wrong? Implementation, like the respected Lalita Kumar Banglam, she's been in the highest office, and she would have seen so many things in her times. And I have been in this industry for 46 years. I have seen every single person. They all are the same. Most of them. I have worked across all languages. Tamil, I worked in Telugu, I worked in Malayalam, Kannada, Hindi. There is this sort of sexual, references, but they know who they are talking to. When I first came into movies, I would never speak to anybody. I will always be reading a book. And then I realized that, being quiet, it's not going to serve my purpose. So I stood up for myself. Not that I haven't had people propositioning me. I've had the topmost politicians. I can't even tell their names now. I don't want to because I'm not here to, talk about those people. I knew how to tackle them and I've tackled them. And they haven't come back. They know. They know where to draw the line. I think now women have to empower themselves to be strong. We have to. This is going on. This is ridiculous. You forget the film industry, whether it's Malayalam or Tamil or whatever. It is there. These guys exist. I have seen them. I have seen once in Kerala, once when I was walking, a group of men from the production were sitting and laughing about something. As I was walking, I just glanced. It was a sort of a very different video. So one of the guys, I was just chatting with them. I said, what were you all watching? And they have got videos of all the actresses changing clothes inside the caravan.
My God.
Inside a caravan where they're given for us, for our private space to change our clothes, to refresh. They have videos. And all these guys were sitting there laughing. I want all the actors I worked with, please be careful. And, we are so paranoid. When I go, I'll send my assistants to go check all the interiors and see if there's a camera, where could it be. We don't know. Technology is changing every day. Now it's how we are going to empower ourselves with these changing times.
Right.
First and foremost, I'm observant as a mother. My daughter has children, and so I'm a grandmother. Please, you have to get the center now. I mean, I'm also part of the BJP, but I'm saying the center has to put a stop to this free pornography available to people. Just walking everywhere, you just glance at what are they watching, and you will see what they are watching.
No, definitely.
This, even in an assembly, there was a minister who was watching.
True.
These are things, is a mindset which has to change towards women. How you treat women. The mindset is not there. So the laws also are not helping. Now, as Deepa Ishwar said, how can you get proof? Now, what happened to me also? It happened in a room, and there was no cameras at that time. There was no phones. Hand phones. How do I tell? Of course, I could have told, including the then Chief Minister Jayalalitha accused the then governor that he came and he grabbed my hand.
Right.
How was she ridiculed?
Right.
She
But
was
if I
ridiculed.
can ask you, Radhika Sharad Kumar, did you take any action against those persons who had those videos? Did you pursue the matter legally? If you can share with us.
Yes, I gave a piece of mind. Nobody likes to talk to me. They don't like talking to me because I would give them a piece of my mind. Yes, I have. And I warned everybody. And I'm saying this on national television. Please be careful when you go into caravans.
Well, that's a very, very, at least for those of us who are not associated with the film industry, certainly, of course, a very shocking revelation there. But Deepa, we've had 2-3 people say that, it's important to fight back. It's important to speak out. But, especially Lalita Kumar Mangalam saying that there is, of course, social stigma, there's lack of support from family, there's also fear of whether there's evidence, in terms of how they will be able to prove the charges that they're making. There are a number of things that are actually deterrents for women to come out and speak their mind on this. So it's easier said than done. Deepa.
No, I think, respecting Lalita ma'am, what she said, I think the answer to the question lies in that statement itself. The lack of evidence in these cases, which is that tricky thing there. So, which is exactly why I'm saying that it is important for us to make sure that these are not false allegations as well. Again, I'm not saying all of them are, but lack of evidence can also ruin families. It could be taking out a previous grudge that you have. It could be a political agenda playing behind it, but you're playing with lives, you're playing with families. So that lack of evidence that respected ma'am was talking about is itself my concern as well, because it's going to affect both parties. So how do we make it as quick as possible? So imagine there is already lack of evidence. So what if when you're coming out 10 years later and 15 years later and talking about something that happened in 1992, forget evidence. You don't even know, you probably don't even remember who this person is. Was it consensual? We have no idea what has happened. I mean, so that is totally not really a fair way to raise allegations, especially when you're name dropping. You're dropping names, you're dropping times, so you're ruining families out there. So I think it should be responsible. So this movement is an extremely good movement. Let's not dilute it. Because my husband faced me too allegations. I'm sure national media, you would know Rahul Ishwar has faced MeToo allegations, which was absolutely baseless. So how can we prove that it was baseless? Somebody had a problem with his political statements. They thought, okay, let's tarnish his reputation by calling out a MeToo. That's spoiling the entire spirit of the whole process, which is my point. So it doesn't mean that I'm against women. I'm with women. I think, such movements, if utilized responsibly, this would be a great revolution for women. But is it being utilized responsibly?
Madhuvanti Arun, I want you to come in on this. Should there be some reasonable limitation? That's a question coming in, because this is an entirely debatable point, because there are those who will say, what if you've been able to gather the courage to come out and finally speak up against someone who's powerful? And the mafia was in fact mentioned in the Hema Commission report also. What happens in those cases then? Because here Deepa says that you're also going to end up ruining families if you speak out after a very long point of time. Is that a valid concern?
Good evening to you and to my fellow panelists here. So the point is not about what is going to happen to you or what is going to happen to your family. I think I have personally grown up watching Radhika ma'am on sets. I have acted with her, and I can strongly say that when she says no, it's a no, period. So you have to gather the guts to actually say no and immediately report it. There is no point in waiting, watching, worrying what family is going to say, because these fellows don't keep quiet. They don't even have DPs on their social media profiles, but they have the guts to talk nonsense on social media and troll. I am a victim of several of these trolls. Not that I care. I couldn't care less. They keep trolling me, abusing me. That is also personal. Verbal abuse and trolling you on social media is also considered sexual abuse only. But I couldn't care less. I don't bother. I give it back to them in style. But then there have to be more women who come out and actually speak their mind. And if there is a problem, take it to the right places and call out. And definitely, like Radhika ma'am rightly said, the laws have to become more stringent. And action has to be taken in time. Like Sanjana rightly said, you cannot wait 5 years, 6 years, 7 years for somebody to come out and actually give you justice.
All right.
If this has to happen, it has to happen immediately.
Yeah, let's quickly take a look at the timeline. In fact, Sanjana referred to the case in 2017. In fact, we're going to go through the timeline. It's on 17th of February 2017 that a top Malayalam actress was allegedly sexually assaulted in Kochi. On May 2017, a group of artists formed the Women in Cinema Collective, or the WCC, which you see that is in the news also since the Hema Commission report has come out. This WCC was formed to highlight the gender disparity, abuse and injustice in the industry. On the 14th of July 2017, the government formed the Justice Hema Committee to study sexual abuse charges. On the 31st of December 2019, the Justice Hema Committee submitted its report to the Kerala government almost 5 years ago, 4.5 years at least. On the 12th of January 2022, the government formed a panel to implement recommendations of this particular report. On the 16th of January 2022, the WCC demands the release of the Justice Hema Committee report. And later on the 19th of August in 2024, the report was finally released after a directive coming in from the Kerala High Court. Without the High Court directive, clearly this would not have happened. And let me quickly take this across to our panelists who represent various political views. Vivek Srivastav is a political analyst who's joining us. Vivek Srivastav, in 2022, the then chief of the National Commission for Women had written a letter to Chief Secretary of Kerala, VP Joy, calling on the Kerala government to share the findings and recommendations of this report. Why do you think the state government still took such a long time, over 4 years, to make such an important report public?
No, see, I'll tell you one thing. Now there are two things. Number one, when the WCC was formed in 2017, the Kerala government was also a facilitator. It encouraged the Women in Cinema Collective. And it said that now you give me the recommendations, what should be done? So the first recommendation was a strict implementation of the POSH Act 2013. That was the first part. But now POSH Act 2013 had various clauses which were a little unfriendly as it seemed. One of the clauses said that at best, within 3 months of any incidents happening, at best, you should try to come and report. Now, many of the incidences were being reported 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, 10 years down the lane. So that was one particular controversy. And then it was when WCC requested Pinarayi Vijayan, that the chief minister, that let's do something and why don't you set up a committee for us? And so it was us, the government over there, which decided to form the committee. You had 2 years of COVID in the middle, okay? And the recommendations, this committee report, if you read it, there are two parts of it.
Seriously,
the first part is, yeah.
COVID ended in 2022, sir. What were you doing for the last 2 years?
Yes. So it's not, no. Just listen to me now. Now, a major part of this committee report is about the organizational failures and the shortcomings of the industry. For example, you don't have separate washrooms for women in many places where the shootings are going on, and so on and so forth. And the second is the how to tackle the various issues, including the reporting of it. This is the first part. Now, this doesn't actually mean that the government doesn't mean business. This also doesn't mean that we are trying to protect someone. You have to understand one thing, Madhav Gopalakrishnan, that it is very difficult after MJ Akbar's case. I'll quote an MJ Akbar case because you are a journalist and he's from your fraternity. When MeToo happened, MJ Akbar, many women accused him. But when the first woman who accused him, he retorted and he said that I'm being asked to pay 6 crores and then she'll drop the case against me. And nobody knew whom to prove, who's right and who's wrong. But only when multiple women reported the case, Mr. Akbar had to step down and the inquiry started. Now there are certain shortcomings, is what I'm trying to ask you.
Sir, I don't understand what the shortcomings are. If there is a Justice Hema Commission report, why sit on it for 4 years? Mithun, Vijay Kumar, do any of the explanations of Mr. Vivek Srivastava today make sense? Because ultimately the moot question that the Kerala government is facing today is that why it waited over 4 years for this report to come out, and even then it comes out at the behest of the High Court, not of the state government.
See, Madhav, I think there is a powerhouse within the industry whom the government was trying to protect, and that's the allegation, one of the allegations that has come out. And Madhav, Vivek was talking about POSH Act 2013, but POSH was never implemented in Malayalam cinema till date, I can say that. And I don't think you need any committee recommendations to implement POSH, first of all. But at the same time, I would also say that we can't have, Sharia laws in India like Saudi, where human rights are becoming a big issue. But, Madhav, it's all interconnected. While it's crucial to hold individuals accountable, we must also recognize the role of societal structures societal structures play a crucial role in enabling or curbing such dominant behaviors within the industry. So it's not just enough to call out individuals. We need to examine the systems that allow these abuses to flourish, irrespective of the industry, whether it is film industry or the corporate industry or whatever. And this means that creating better workplaces, fostering a culture of integrity, and ensuring that justice is served fairly and consistently. Okay. And the change doesn't happen from the top to bottom. It requires effort from everyone involved, from the most powerful producer to the newest actor on the set.
All right.
So that's it. Of course, there is a political angle to this. But a fair trial is what would ensure the victim's part and also the ones who are accused. Both should get they should get a fair trial. And when such allegations comes, if the victim feels heard and supported, the accused should also receive a fair evaluation, is what I would say, because that strengthens the overall credibility of the judicial process. And we need systems that are robust enough to handle both the protection of victims and the rights of the accused without compromising on either.
All right. Let me come back to Vivek Srivastava, though. Vivek Srivastava, number of points that you made, but I want to just respond to your point on MJ Akbar. At the end of the day, MJ Akbar was made to step down as a Minister of State. Right now, you have a situation where there is a certain MLA, a very popular actor in Kerala called Mr. Mukesh, who's a two-time legislator of the CPIM.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the allegation is that if the state government refuses to release the report in January 2022, if in July the State Information Commission orders that it should be released, and then the matter is challenged in the High Court, and then the High Court also releases, it seems that the state government has deliberately tried to protect one of its own. That's the difference that's being pointed out here.
Are you trying to tell me that if this committee was never formed and this report was not there, and a woman goes and complains against an MLA, no action will be taken?
So we don't need the complaint. Why did that complaint not happen, sir?
See, the
This is a
committee-
very,
no,
very
no, no.
insensitive. I'm sorry,
No,
Vivek
no,
Srivastava.
no.
Extremely insensitive comment
Sorry,
to make. Look
sorry,
at the
no.
survivors coming
I
up.
said there is no
Look at the
relationship
survivors
between
coming out to speak
Sir,
today,
let me
sir. You're
speak.
insulting
Let me
them.
speak, sir.
You have
Sir,
a
let me
mafia.
speak.
One second. No, Vivek,
Can I
please.
speak?
This is,
Yes.
you can argue this
You're not
politically.
letting
I have
me
no
speak.
problem. But this is a
There's
very
no
insensitive
politics
comment to
behind
make, Vivek, and I'll tell you why. Please hear me out. Because you have a survivor on this panel. And let me ask her. Let's get in her point of view. It's not my point of view. Let's ask her. Sonia Malhar, what would you say to Vivek Srivastava, who's saying that what if there was no committee? Can people not go and complain? Is it really that simple when we're talking about a mafia that's being reported, a group of people with their own vested interest group who are actually actively cancelling people? Can you please explain to Mr. Srivastava why this Hema committee report is so important?
It's very important to us because some political
Vivek, hear the survivor,
interferences,
please. Before you preach to others, please hear the
always
survivor.
denying justice like that. Yeah. So this Hema committee report, I also coming out to reveal all the details, and I have the courage. That's a very important Hema committee report in the entire Bharat. First time Kerala government is making like that, but denying again and again, not good. I think some political or any important VVIPs, including that criminal list. So maybe that is the point to hiding again and again and delaying the committee report to out. Maybe it's something fishy, not good.
Okay, Vivek, please respond to the survivor, and I would hope that you treat this answer with a little bit of sensitivity,
Yes.
please.
No, please. I don't need your lecture on sensitivity.
Sir, that was
I
a very
speak
insensitive
clearly.
comment you made.
You have
Please
not
admit
even
it.
listened to what I have said, and you just moved away from me.
No, because you
Listen
made
to me
such an
very clearly.
insensitive comment. Take
All I'm
responsibility
saying
for what
is-
you're saying.
All I am saying is, Mr. Madhav Gopalakrishnan, if a woman in your studio, in your channel, complains against you, Hema committee or no Hema committee, you are still liable. There is police, there are laws, and no committee can save you.
Mr. Srivastava, that's
This
the
is
point.
what I'm trying to say.
That's the point.
I'm
They
not
didn't have the
understanding.
courage to come out
All
and
I'm
complain
saying
until
is
now.
The delay.
They did not have the courage to come out and complain until the commission report came out.
Sir.
Madhav, may I come in here, please?
Yeah, Lalita Kumar, one second.
delay-
I think, no, Vivek, you're stretching the point way too far. Please listen to Lalita. Understand what you're saying. Understand the import of what you're saying. You're saying that survivors should just go out and complain. We've just had a long discussion of how difficult it is. And you're again coming out and making the same point. Lalita Kumar, please respond to Vivek.
Madhav, the whole point is not that laws don't exist. The laws exist. The problem is the implementation of the law. It is in the implementation that there are such bad problems, whether it is the length of how long. Look, Nirbhaya took 8 years with her mother fighting every step of the way. This was one of the most heinous rapes that we've ever seen in this country. Look at what's happening with the RG car case. Everything is there. We need political will. We need a much more sensitive system that doesn't always find fault with the women. Why do women not come forward? It's easy to say they're cowards. Why are they cowards? They're cowards because it's a system they're forced to live in. There are very few people who may have the backup to be able to get away with making allegations of sexual harassment. You know, in a rape case or something, at least even the forensics, Madhav, come on. Have you seen the state of forensics in this country?
True.
A woman is raped, she goes to a police station. By the time the forensics is done, where is the proof left? There are too many issues here. The most important thing is that the facilitation that is required to make sure that the system reacts immediately, that is quickly, effectively, and without prejudice, which includes the politicians who are sitting in power, is not in place. It's not one point. It's so many things put together that make a woman go to complain. You go to a police station for even a domestic violence case, Madhav. Let's forget the film industry.
Right.
What do they say? Arey ghar mein yahi hota hai. Why do women want to then go to the police station? When
Right.
you go to the police station, how often do you meet women police officers, A and B? Even women police officers, how empathetic are they to other women? What do we say? वो तो लड़ाकू है. I'm saying it in Hindi, but I mean I can say it in another language too.
Yeah.
She's just a complainer.
Yeah.
She's just a troublemaker.
Yeah.
What did Radhika ji say? She's such an experienced person. What did she say? That you're shut up because the system shuts you down. Men don't understand this. With all due respect to the three gentlemen on this show, I'm glad that there are men who at least take a stand for women publicly. What a woman goes through, it's like, being put through the washing machine, literally. Dhulai, we say in Hindi, that's what happens. And
All right.
most women do not have the staying power, whether it's economic, whether it's physical, whether it's moral, whether it's from their families, and certainly not from society. How many of us have actually gone and sat in a police station with even a minor complaint? To them, DV doesn't matter at all.
True.
We had to fight.
Vivek Srivastava, there are many things. Please calm down and respond. You have to acknowledge the difficulty
All
that
I'm
women
saying
survivors
is,
go. The legal system exists. Nobody is denying that. We know there are police stations, there are courts, but the system itself is so defunct that the process becomes the punishment.
Yes. With due respect to you, Madhav, I had replied to you because you said that we are not releasing the Hema committee report to save a particular MLA.
That's
That
the
is
allegation you are
senseless.
facing.
No,
Mr.
that is illogical.
Mr. Muralidharan has said so, sir. No. 1 second. I'm just telling you. I'm just quoting. I'm just quoting what Mr. Muralidharan has said. He's a former union minister, and you can respond to it. He said you're not acting in a timely manner of the Justice Hema Committee report, accusing the Pinarayi Vijayan-led government of protecting persons mentioned in the report, including a CPIM MLA. Respond to what Mr. Muralidharan is saying.
Very clearly. This is what I was trying to tell you, that Hema committee report is a report of a different nature. It is telling us what to do and what not to do. It is giving us some advices on how women safety can be implemented, how cases should be handled. Okay? When it comes to individual complaints and cases, there is still your penal code in place. When was the complaint against this CPI MLA formed? And to say one MLA, we are delaying one report for 4 years. This is an illogical thing.
So why was the report delayed? Tell us why was the report delayed?
Yes, maybe the delay happened and that is wrong. That's a different issue.
That is exactly the issue, sir. We are debating here today.
But you linking it because we are trying to save an MLA.
Okay.
Linking because,
Jim Ibrahim, it's wrong to link it to the MLA and certainly not correct for Congress party. Your own MLAs are also facing certain charges of a similar nature. Please respond to what Vivek Srivastava is saying. It's wrong to link it to any political intent.
As long as there is a conflict of interest, any party who is accused of a misdeed should show the gall to resign from their respective places. As long as there is a conflict of interest, I repeat. So you started by asking Srivastava something very interesting. What was the communist government? Why did the communist government sit on the Hema committee report for 4.5 long years? We are yet to receive a logical response. So if that is not to protect one of their own, then why else? He had also spoken something about instituting washrooms in locations and stuff. Now, this was the finding of the committee. What did the Kerala government led by Sri Pinarayi Vijayan do so that the artists or the large technical group? Now, we are actually focusing a lot, and rightly so, on the female artists. Let us also be reminded of the enormous effort that is put by the technical group as well, of which women contribute a major part. Now, there is something called a recce when you have a film, all right? Now, that is a workplace. You are traveling in a car with people you don't know to places you are not aware of. Now, that is their workplace. This is the definition of their workplace. What do you do if somebody touches you inappropriately, God forbid? Where do you make sure that you have a redressal mechanism? What prompt redressal mechanism did the Kerala government institute based on the Hema committee's findings? Now, this has to be scaffolded by some sort of regulations or rules. Now, this is not an industry that is entirely black or white. Just like I said earlier, a workspace is for Madhav, you go to the studio, you have so many hours of work, you know what you do there. I can assume that you have conversations, you have frequent debates. But when it comes to cinema, you do not have a defined workspace to begin with. What finding on the
No,
Hema
but I
Committee.
think the point you're making is very clear that Vivek Srivastava, in such a situation, what is the action? Either the government took action. Give us a logical reason why it was not put into place. None of those are coming forth. You can attack the BJP, you can attack me, you can
I'm
attack
not
other
attacking
panelists.
anyone.
You're free
I'm
to
not
do so.
attacking anyone.
It's your freedom of
All
expression,
I'm
you're free to
trying
do
to
so.
say is-
But give us one logical reason today.
I am not attacking anyone. All I am saying is linking it that for 4 years, if a report gets delayed, it is to save a particular MLA is ridiculous because we have the laws of the land in place. You complain and it is proved the man is inside the jail. This is true for the entire country. And, so that is one part. Second part is with so many MLAs of the Congress in the assembly with 18-member parliaments, with Sri Rahul Gandhi from Wayanad, for the last so many years. I mean, how many times was the Hema committee report discussed by the Congress or the opposition in the assembly? Can I know this from the gentleman sitting over here? Because the fact is that the film industry is not owned by the government. It is not owned by the
What do you
Communist
discuss
Party.
if the report is not out, Vivek?
No.
The report has to be out. No? If there's a CAG report out, you discuss that in the House. If there is any report or a Judicial Commission report, the report has to be released or tabled for it to be discussed.
Sir. Yes. So if the report is not being released, how many times was this questioned and asked by the Chief Minister in the Assembly is what I want to know from the Congress and from the 18-member parliaments of the Congress sitting there. They did not.
Jim Saibram, quick response.
Sir,
and I want to move on from the political aspect of this debate. Jim Saibram.
So thank you, Srivastava, for reminding us that our job is to constantly remind and nag the CM into action. So if it is not for owning up to things and taking responsibility that he assumed this role, then why else do you think that he occupies the chief ministership of the state?
All right, I just want to put
to
on...
be constantly reminded and nagged into action?
All right, I want to end this aspect of the debate, and this is a fact that I'm putting out. It's widely reported. On the 16th of January 2022, the WCC demanded the release of the Hema Commission report. The members met the Kerala Women's Commission Chief P. Sati Devi to demand the release. However, they were informed that the government was not bound to place the report in assembly as per Commission of Inquiries Act. Now, this is very widely reported, and everyone can check the facts on this. And this is what happened in Bollywood. While we've seen actions take place in Hollywood against Harvey Weinstein, etc., we don't want to name the individuals involved because the charges have not been proven in a court of law after a reasonable amount of time. But the questions here is whether they will get justice. The reason given in this particular case is that the NCW closed the case due to lack of communication with a complainant in this case. As far as second case in Bollywood is concerned, the Mumbai police filed a closure report for the rape case citing lack of evidence. The third case that we're talking about is also related to Bollywood, where the case was closed within a year due to lack of evidence. The fourth case is as far as the Kannada industry is concerned, where a closure report was filed citing lack of evidence. And this is where things become a little complicated. Lalita Kumar Bangla, I want to come back to you. What really is the issue here? Because here you have high-profile individuals who were named in Bollywood a few years ago. None of those charges stuck. We saw what happened in Hollywood. There were several individuals, several high-profile actors, directors, etc., producers who were, in fact, brought into the ambit of the law. There was action taken. Is it the lack of evidence? Is it pressure from influential quarters? Or is there something else at play?
Madhav, it's all of that. The lack of evidence is often damning because women don't know that you have to collect evidence. When you're being abused, that's not what's on your mind. You just want to get out of there and somehow be safe. Two, there is always an enormous amount of pressure put on the woman, not just from the perpetrator's side, but from the side of people who also mean well. Most people are afraid of a woman's reputation getting ruined. And that's the first thing that's done, slut shaming, as we call it. In any sort of sexual harassment complaint or molestation or rape, etc., the first thing you will say is what? Why is she dressed that way? Why does she wear that color lipstick? Why is her hair short? Why is she walking like that? Why does she smile at men? Why does she drink? Blah, blah, blah. So there is the pressure is not just overt. It's also very, very built into what I'm saying is the system. Secondly, women don't often have the finance to fight their own legal battles. Don't forget that. Men have more access to everything. I know it sounds very extreme when I say it, but it's still the truth. Most of the women on this panel are women who have made it economically, so we can afford to be, brazen and shout and ask for our rights. But most women and younger girls especially do not have that financial backing. To afford a decent lawyer, it costs an enormous amount of money. And given the way the legal system runs, it just goes on and on and on. As I told you earlier, all of that is what needs to be in place.
Right.
I mean, as the gentleman said, we don't live in Sharia law where they kill you for anything and you can't open your mouth.
Okay.
I mean, where the laws are really tough. Imagine anything like that happening in India.
Let me quickly bring in some of our other panelists as well. Sanjana Galrani, I'd like to ask you here, and in the context of what's happened in Bollywood, there are also some reports that I was just going through before this debate that you had leveled certain allegations against a particular actor, and if these reports are believed, you have also apologized. So the point that Deepa makes that everyone needs to be very careful about making these kind of allegations, perhaps would you say that there is some merit to that?
See, I was a victim myself in the beginning days of my career when I was 17 or 18-year-old. During that time, I had signed a particular film, and after I signed the film and I happened to go to the shooting location, I was continuously pressurized and forced to do more and more levels of the bold scenes, as in, if I have to articulate it correctly. I was told that it's a slightly glamorous film when I had signed it, but once I go to the location, I was really young. I was like 16, I was 17. And they were putting pressure on me saying that, you know, if you don't listen to the director, then definitely you'll not be getting more opportunities in the film industry. This is going to go out to the Directors Association, and this is not going to go down very well with the film industryites, and then you'll have lack of opportunities and you'll have a red mark as a film actor, that you're not, performing up to the levels of what the director is expecting you to perform. And all of this was in front of the camera. I'm not talking to you about any experience that I had behind the camera. And while I was so young and this happened to me, I actually intended to believe that, okay, I really have to follow this particular director because he's the guru on sets and I'm like a student, and my mindset was like that at that point in time. And then when I happened to speak about it, the entire Directors Association took it as an offense on the entire Director Association, whereas I happened to speak only about that one particular man. But that is what happens in this film industry, that all the men gang up against you and pressurize you to the level that, okay, you have to apologize and you have to apologize and you have to apologize and things like that. They literally ganged up against me. And I was like, whatever I have told is the truth. It's the complete truth. So, and I happened to open up when that entire Me Too incident happened. You know, I just want to share my personal experience of what happened to me as a new person in the film industry. If it were to be today, I would be like, namaste, you can do your own film, I'm leaving this film, take care, bye, and I would have walked out, because today I'm a 37-year-old girl, and back then I was like 17 and I didn't know how to conduct myself. How much will a 17-year-old girl know any which ways how to conduct herself when you're put under such a pressurized situation? So I was a victim of the system myself, but after that happened, I learned my lesson, and today I have learned to stand up, and then I'm like, I don't need to apologize because whatever I've told is the truth, and I'm sharing my experience so that other new girls who come to the industry don't go through what I have gone through.
Deepa, you want to respond to that very quickly?
In every film industry, there lacks a woman body.
Yeah.
No, my only with, I'm curious, seriously, I'm curious too, as a woman. I'm a very empathizing person, and if I was trying to imagine what I would have done if I'm in your place, there is someone who's misbehaved, and I'm trying to take it up with the people, to the organization, the body that I'm supposed to, and they gang up against me, they corner me, and I decide to leave it. Is not something that I would do. I would probably then take it up, like how one of the co-panelists here said, I would take it up with the code, in the sense we have laws in place where we can go ahead and we can raise this. Why didn't we take it forward is a genuine question that I have. I mean, if I was in your place, I'm wondering what was the challenge in taking it outside? Because obviously the director board or AMMA, which is the Association for Malayalam Movie Actors, that's not the final deciding committee when a woman is, sexually abused. So why didn't we take it forward? There is another question. So I don't believe women do not have opportunities to raise issues. I think we have enough mechanisms where we can raise it.
Very quickly, I want to go back to Radhika Sharad Kumar. Radhika Sharad Kumar, what needs to be done to ensure that what happened in the Bollywood MeToo case, does not happen in the case of Hema Committee report and other industries?
At the end of the day, the complete onus comes to the woman's shoulder. Today, none of the men have opened their mouth. Nobody has stood up for all these women who have been fighting for the last few years. Yes, everybody is resigned. You are asking us to go to an association and complain. I am saying keep a special body in the association with strong women there and also with somebody from the legal system to help them through this crisis. I've been saying this for so many years. I said, get somebody there. Because maybe these women are not complaining. How many people in these so-called associations are good? They're all flawed. Please look at them. Please look at them. To anything. They're all flawed. I know, for sure, for a fact. But how much does this woman, who is this woman who's going to go and complain? Look at these women who complained, who stood up for their rights. They have no job. I must tell you this. Recently, there was a film where Aarti had acted, and she's part of that person who joined the WCC, took off. And it was an excellent film. And I asked, why wasn't she honored in any space in her state? And they said, no, she talks too much, so we've avoided her. And she gets an award in Melbourne.
Right.
Please tell me, why is the onus on the woman at the end? Every man keeps quiet.
Well, very valid question in the context of what has happened. And I think that's quite evident in terms of what has happened in the Kerala film industry as well. But certainly there are voices speaking up, and we certainly hope that the report of the Hema committee, that it sees its logical conclusion. There are serious questions given what we have seen in the past, but this is perhaps for the first time that you have a judicial body that has submitted a report to a state government which highlights the problems. There are a number of survivors who are speaking up. Will there be logical action as far as the course of law is concerned? That's a big question. That's one that we're going to continue to monitor, and one that certainly will be looked at from other state film industries' perspectives as well. I'd like to thank all our panelists, Madhavanti Arun, Sonia Malar, Lalita Kumarmangalam, Deepa Ishwar, Mithun Vijay Kumar, Sanjana Galrani, Radhika Sharad Kumar, Jimsa Ibrahim, as well as Vivek Shrivastava for joining us on The National Debate.